What's happening, everyone? My name is Niamh Cunningham.
And my name is Louise Vance.
And this is The Substance of Style, episode 1.
Woohoo!
So we're going to be talking about basically the fashion industry, and we'll be taking you through our own style journeys and how we actually got into fashion.
I think for our first podcast, we kind of wanted to introduce ourselves to you guys, give you a flavour of, what we're all about, where our origins in terms of fashion lies, and what you can kind of expect from us over the next kind of coming weeks, months, hopefully years, with all of our podcasts.
So the Substance of Style is basically going to be your go-to for all things fashion. So it might be fashion month, it might be what's happening on the high street, social media.
Basically, everything and anything that is fashion related that we feel is topical and deserves a bit of deeper discussion and debate. This is going to be where you're going to come to get all the goss. So I suppose at this stage, we should probably introduce ourselves.
Good idea.
And kind of give you guys a bit of a background on who we are, what we love. So, Niamh?
Okay, so my name is Niamh Cunningham and I am a freelance creative. So I model, I style, creative direct. I've done film and television stuff. And yeah, just fashion was always something that kind of was always on the sideline until I took charge of it and made it like my full-time thing. I started modeling when I was 16 and that was my real first in with the fashion industry. As I progressed through it, I wanted to get involved in where I could. So I was styling, I was creative directing, and I started my blog 3 years ago. So this is kind of all of the things that kind of led up to this moment.
For me, it was a massive evolution. I was originally trained as a solicitor and was very, very happy in what I was doing, but was always incredibly interested and passionate about all things that were fashion related. About 7, 8 years ago, I started going to fashion events, fashion shows, that kind of thing. Got talking to fashion designers and stylists and makeup and PR people and models like yourself, and realized that I genuinely really loved this and had so much knowledge and information built up over the years of reading books, watching documentaries, and immersing myself in all things fashion related that I just really needed a creative outlet for that. So the Real Elle Woods was started as my blog about 7 years ago now. And from that, it's spawned out into being a total freelance creative. I've been able to do so many different campaigns. I've been able to do styling, freelance writing for some of the brands and designers that I'm really passionate about. And I pinch myself sometimes at the adventures and the things I've been able to experience and create. So yeah.
It's interesting how we both kind of started in the fashion industry in two completely different paths, and suddenly our paths have crossed and we're here together now, which is awesome.
Completely.
Having the opportunity to be able to do these things together.
Well, certainly for me, like I'd seen you walking the catwalk for years before we actually met in person. So it was really cool to be able to kind of take that persona off the professional model and actually get to know the person behind that. But
even like, again, because we met at fashion shows and the same faces and you kind of grow accustomed to people, but getting to know people and the community and the personalities that come out from the fashion industry here at the moment is awesome.
Completely. So, and it's great to just have people that you can really share that passion and enthusiasm with. And people that understand the intricacies of fashion and see it beyond just a photograph that's put up on Instagram or, a very quick Insta story that, for us, our interest in fashion goes much, much deeper than that.
There's so much more to it than just the photo on Instagram. Like that's only one part of it. And what we love is like, say, the essence of fashion, and it's the designers, it's the shows, it's the set design and everything that comes together to make a collection really stand out to everyone.
Completely. And understanding the motivation behind those designs and the intricacy of what's actually gone into creating that final design piece. I think certainly for me, that's the thing I find most inspiring and the thing that I find most interesting. And I think it's something that's kind of glossed over today in this world of fast fashion. It's just all about the impact of how it looks without actually looking deeper into it. And I think that's something that we really want to bring out in the podcast.
And that's why we're here. That is why we're here, to talk about all these things that we're passionate about and the fashion industry as we see it through our eyes. That's why the Substance of Style exists. So, so Louise actually had told us that she was a solicitor in another life.
Yeah, well, This is the irony, because whenever the blog first began, I was blonde, just like the character Elle Woods from the movie Legally Blonde. Completely obsessed with fashion, loved my outfits. Everything had to be perfectly coordinated, matched to within an inch of its life. You know, every outfit very, very thought out and pre-planned. And whenever it came to deciding the blog name, I remember talking to a friend of mine who's a stylist called Louise Cameron, and I went, Louis, I can't come up with a good name. I just can't think what to call it. And he goes, it's simple, Louise, you're the Real Elle Woods. And I went, oh yeah, it's a good idea.
And just like that.
That's how the name was born. But I mean, for me personally, the blog kind of was born at a time when blogging wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
And it certainly wasn't something that people used to kind of build a career or to make money out of. It really was just a tool if you were obsessively interested in something. It was a way of sharing that passion, sharing that interest with like-minded people, and connecting with people in a global, you know, perspective who shared that interest. And that's what I really wanted to do, and what I loved about blogging. And that's kind of where it all started for me.
But that is like the basis of blogging, and that's why everyone kind of gets into it.
Yeah.
Because they are passionate about something and they want to like push that and share that passion with other people.
I literally, you know, I was one of the first kind of bloggers here in Northern Ireland, and certainly in terms of attending fashion events and things. I mean, we've had Belfast Fashion Week, which is now heading, I think it's the 28th season we're heading into, 27th, 28th.
Yeah.
And I've been to literally every single one of those shows, you know, as a general member of the public, right through to a blogger, somebody working behind the scenes. I've even been lucky enough to style and get involved from that aspect of Fashion Week as well, which for me was great to get that perspective of what it was like to actually be styling the shows and working backstage and working directly with the models. And I loved doing that, because for so long I'd been sitting fro, enjoying the shows, but hadn't really seen it from the other side. But yeah, I mean, for me, when I started out originally, I was always very academic, always obsessively interested in fashion since I was no age at all. You know, I remember being literally in primary school and being sick, and my mom would go to the local newsagents and buy me Vogue and, you know, bring me Vogue to sit and read in bed to cheer me up. So for me, literally, fashion was just something that I was constantly surrounded with from no age at all. And even though I always was very academically based, I always had a massive interest in fashion and really wanted to learn everything about it, learn more about the designers, really get an understanding of it. So whenever people talk to me, they go, you know, oh, well, you obviously you've been working in it, you've been educated in fashion. I go, well, actually, no. It's been something that's been built up over many, many years of just vicariously reading and digesting fashion magazines, documentaries, books, anything I could get my hands on from I was literally age 10 right through to now. And
that shows like the interest is there and that it is your world.
Totally. I mean, I can't imagine a world where I'm not expressing myself through what I'm wearing and what I love. And to me, that's what fashion should be about. You know, it's not necessarily about obsessively following trends. It's about expressing yourself, expressing your personality, and expressing your love. And I think for us, certainly for this podcast, I mean, that's what we really want to do. We want to go into more depth and talk about the things that we're passionate about.
It's not just about what's trending on Instagram at the moment. There's so much more depth to it that we want to touch on.
Yeah. And what about you, Niamh? Because like I know for you, you started off originally as a model. So it's very, very different going from modeling where the outfits and the look is what has been created for you. And now you're on the other side of that. You're actually doing the creating and you're the one that's in control of that. How's that been for you?
It's really interesting. Like I started modeling at 16 and I had no idea kind of what I was doing. I just knew that I fit the height requirement and I was maybe a wee bit different.
Which I definitely don't fit.
It's okay. It's overrated. Don't worry. It's fine.
Good things come in small packages.
It's okay, it's fine. But yes, I got into modelling whenever I was 16 and I started with Style Academy, who I'm still with in Belfast. Now I did bits and pieces in Dublin, but with being in school and that sort of thing, it wasn't feasible to go down a lot. But what I love about modelling is that it's so much more creative than people think. Like you get to basically act. Like you get to act out who you are in the clothes and that sort of role. But then being able to style it, it gives me a whole other perception on what is going on and lets me have a wee bit more control in these sort of things. Yes, modelling and styling are two completely different areas, but as long as I'm getting to be creative when it comes to fashion, that's what I love, and that's why I love organizing photo shoots. That is why I love collaborating on different projects, whether it's with other stylists, whether it's with photographers, other models. Just as long as I'm in there and working in fashion and working in the creative industries, I'm over the moon. So being able to do this podcast with yourself is like a whole other notch to my belt right now, which is awesome. And I like doing something different all the time. I don't like to pigeonhole myself. As long as I'm getting involved in everything, it's awesome.
I know for me, I love to talk. I talk all the time, but put me in front of a camera, put me with a microphone. It's a very different experience. So
yeah, I'm really struggling right now. Yeah, it's a struggle, but it's
real.
It's completely different experience. And like that, like modeling, you're behind the camera, or modeling, you're in front of the camera. Sorry, and when you're styling, you're behind the camera, and how you get involved in that kind of same thing changes. Which is like right now, we're sitting talking to you guys, but we're also talking to each other, and it's trying to. This is the prime example of how this is hard, because my mind has just went blank.
But I think as well, whenever you're acting as a model, as you just said, you're acting a role. You're not being yourself. You're acting a role for that particular shoot. Whereas right now, we're being ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about acting as a blogger, pretending to be something that we're not, or acting out a role. This is very much just us in our raw state. So hopefully you'll enjoy it and you'll like it.
Just sharing a wee bit of what we love. When it comes to fashion, we both have our own individual styles. Like, you look amazing and tailored, and you know, like such structured clothing, and then mine could change completely, and I'd have street style and it'd be crazy patterns and this sort of thing. And that's why, you know, we make a good match.
Yeah.
But how did you get to that point? What was your style journey?
It's weird with me because I kind of feel like I was always self-aware of how I wanted to look. I mean, if 8-year-old Louise was to look at myself today, I'm basically wearing the clothes that I always imagined I would wear whenever I would be a grown-up, which is really, really ironic. But from I was no age at all, I always really admired women that had very chic, sophisticated, very well put together outfits. I am a child of the 80s. And I grew up where it was very much about that kind of, you know, power suit and power dressing and cocktail dresses and uber glam. And I used to look at those outfits and that style, and okay, yeah, 80s, kind of questionable with some of the style choices, but it was very much about that. It's fashion as an empowerment, and I think that was kind of how I always saw it and how I always wanted it to be. Always obsessed with high heels. Knew as soon as I could wear a pair of high heels that fitted me, I knew I would be in high heels, which has pretty much been the case throughout my entire adult life. I don't actually own any flat shoes at all. But no, I'm a very, very controlled person, very, probably as well being a solicitor. You know, I'm one of these people, dots all the I's, strokes all the T's. So I like things to be very well thought, considered, put together. And that's very much reflective of my own personal style.
Even like going back to like as a kid.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I remember, I think I was about 9 or 10, and I had this one particular outfit, and it was lilac leggings with a lilac jumper that had a satin heart on the front that had love embroidered with, my mom put little diamante sequins around the edge of the heart. And then I wore my first ever pair of high-heeled boots, which I think at the time was maybe only about a 2-inch heel, but I just thought they were skyscrapers. I loved them, and that was a whole outfit. And for me, I was obsessed with it. First dress I think I ever really fully loved as a kid was a bright kind of polka dot flamenco dress that I spotted when I was 5 years old, and just it's the first time that I can honestly say I genuinely fell in love with an item of clothing and went, I need this in my life. I want to wear this dress. It makes me happy just to look at it. It makes me happy, and that's the thing. Whenever I go into my wardrobe every day as an adult, it's like playing dress up. I am wearing clothes I love, wearing clothes that make me happy, and that's what style should be. It's not about people pleasing and trying to fit in with others' perception of how I ought to look. It's about me wearing outfits that make me happy. Yeah. And that very considered, put together look is so reflective of me and my personality. It's so reflective of what I love in fashion, and it makes me so happy to be able to go to my wardrobe and pull out those items and style them together and create those very highly curated looks. I think a lot of people look at my style and go, how do you get everything so perfectly matched? And it's a wardrobe that's been built over many, many years, curating and collecting pieces that I know instinctively work together. And it just makes me so happy to be able to do that, to just go to my wardrobe and just pull things out without even having to think. And I've got that perfectly put together, polished look, but it has taken a very long time to build that up to where it is today.
Isn't it amazing that fashion can be like that? Like, that's what style is supposed to be like. You open your wardrobe and you get excited about what you have and what the day will bring. And you're like, what am I going to wear today? Well, that's what I'm usually. I have no idea what I'm going to wear. I never plan anything. But I'm like, who am I going to be today? Am I going to rock out a style that I wore as a kid? Like, obviously in like fully like adulting form, trying to adult sort of thing.
We're all still trying to do that, let's be honest.
It's going okay.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Or are we going to go for something completely different? And it's so funny how your style can change over time. Like, I know you said that your style reflects very much of what you wanted to be whenever you grew up. Your style journey is very like more defined than mine.
Yeah.
Mine is a wee bit all over the place. So as a kid, I was a tomboy. So I was wearing, say, my brother's tracksuits and that sort of thing. And mum was like, no, wear this. And she was dressing me, and there was stuff I hated and there was stuff I loved. There was a lot of like things I loved, like was sports looks kind of looks. And I had like the really nice tracksuits with the one shoulder tops, and with the sunglasses. There's a really good photo my mum has, and it is questionable, but I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Yeah. And there was days where I was wearing tweed cords, where I had like a tweed jacket with tweed culottes and this turtleneck, like orange sweater, and like completely different scales. And I was always wearing something different, and I didn't know what I liked and what I didn't like. But that kind of went on until I went into secondary school, and then obviously
finding yourself.
Exactly, and you're trying to figure out kind of, maybe it is a coming of age thing, where I kind of realized, oh, I kind of like wearing these sort of shapes and these sort of patterns and that sort of thing. And really, like, obviously, whenever you're in school and obviously in university, there are a lot of questionable outfits. And like that time for me, it was very much trends. Like, first year uni, I was in foundation year in the art college, and that's very much a finding yourself type of year, when you're like, I'm at art college, what am I doing with my life? And there was so many questionable things in the shops, but it was trends, and that's all we bought as students. You were buying fast fashion that you could change all the time, wearing outfits once, but you didn't really care. It's not that you didn't care what you look like. It was just like, I'm buying this because I'm told that it looks good, and I'm told that this sort of shape suits my body. And I wore a lot of bodycon and maybe showed a wee bit more skin. And now where I am is like completely different. I love layering clothes, very like Scandi kind of style. And you know what?
Which you pull off so well.
I just love kind of dressing like a granny sometimes. I really, really enjoy it. It's so comfortable, and it can be really empowering, because whenever you're younger, maybe if you wear less clothes and you feel like, oh, I wear less clothes, so I'm owning my body. But there's something that I love about owning my body and wearing loads of clothes. Yeah. And I'm like, none of you get to see any of this. You get to just enjoy the outfit that I've put together. But
it's the choice. It's having the choice of what you want to do for yourself, doing it for yourself.
Exactly.
Not for
anyone else. It's not for anyone else's eyes. It's what I like to see on myself. And that's what my style journey has been. It's been from being young, not knowing what I like to wear, my mum dressing me, which she did fabulously. She is a fashion icon. But she dressed me, so I didn't really know what I was wearing. Going into secondary school and maybe the first few years of uni, where you're told what to wear by the shops. And then coming out of uni after the blogging and Instagram influencing, and it's just like, oh, who am I and what do I like to wear? And this is where I am right now. I'm putting together a wardrobe of pieces that I'm comfortable in. That's what I really, really like. Things I'm comfortable in that suit my shape, that isn't what the high street's telling me to buy. So you have a well-curated wardrobe at this stage, and I'm still trying to figure out where my wardrobe is going to take me. So we're two kind of different places when it comes to our style journeys, which makes this even more exciting for us when it comes to looking at the history of fashion and fashion shows and what's going to be coming into the shops, because you're going to get two very interesting perspectives from Louise, who knows what's happened when, and my own personal modern take on these sort of things.
Yeah, I'm like your fashion historian. I obsessed with, everything that's kind of been going on for the last goodness knows how many years
Mm-hmm.
within fashion, and sort of seeing how those fashions and trends have evolved and changed over time, and also following so many of the designers' journeys and how
Mm-hmm.
they've kind of moved from one fashion house to the next, and how their perspective has influenced the house that they've been designing for, and just kind of going into, you know, all of that can actually add value to your decisions when it comes to what you choose to wear.
Definitely.
So, you know, that's what we're hoping to do here in the Substance of Style, just kind of, you know, educate and, you know, impart some of the knowledge and information that we've picked up, and share our differing viewpoints and differing perspectives, experiences, and just a really interesting debate going.
Definitely. I agree with that. I can't wait to get into debates, because there's going to be things that Louise loves and I'm going to be like, ooh. And there's definitely going to be, you know, there's going to be more times where I really love something and Louise is like, no, that's not going to happen.
No.
There might be a ruckus, who knows, by the end of this.
Fisticuffs over cocktails.
In regards to the whole history of fashion and designers, we will be taking a look at Fashion Month, and we're going to be very busy. Obviously, it's in the next couple of weeks. We start with.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
It's going to be so good.
So excited.
I've been doing my homework. I've been doing it, so I hope you're going to be proud of me.
Oh yeah, totally. But
the Paris Haute Couture is on the 21st of January. Mm-hmm. So we'll be tackling that first, and then we have a full month of podcasts to create while also watching what is happening around the world in the fashion scene. So yeah, tune in, and yeah, this has been new and exciting.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll enjoy our endless fashion musings and debates and discussions and waffles and all that fun stuff, and get to know us a bit better as well through the process.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah,
get to know us. But yes,
we're going to be your fashion friends.
We are going to be. That's really, I like
we
that.
Hope.
Fashion friends, I like it.
Yeah.
But yes, thanks so much for coming, guys.
I know. Thank you so much for listening. We hope we haven't bored you too much with our endless waffles, and we look forward to catching up with you at episode 2. So,
episode 2.
Oh my word. Exciting times.
Bye.
Bye, guys.